Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Henry, and thank you, Victor, for coming to this panel discussion. As we are approaching this contest season, I would like to go through some of the material or information relating with the contest judges. And today, we have Henry and Victor to join me in this discussion. Now, first of all, the two things I want to go through it today. The one is related with the form that we're going to fill out, because the form, if you have not seen it before, it could be very intimidating. And the second part we want to go through is about how a judge should behave when they try to score the individual. So there's two main components I want to talk about it. First of all, let me show you the form. The first form, the first part of the form is the one that with a chart like, and they are the one called the balance. And the bottom half of the picture you see is the rules and also the code of ethics of a judge. Let's go through the first part, which is the chart. The chart has many sections, and I want to go through each section in detail. So I will block out different sections with color, and we'll go through it one by one. The first thing, when you hold off this chart in your hand, you should put your name and your signature at the bottom. Step number one. And once you've done that, you go into step number two, which is the part where you would put all the contestants in here. Now, you don't know the speaking sequence until the chairman announces it. So you have to wait for the chairman to give you the order. When you enter the names in this section in here, I would recommend you to put the first speaker in here, number 10. And then the second speaker at number 9. And the third speaker at number 8. And so on. So you fill the form on the reverse direction. You reverse it from the 10th all the way to the first, if you have 10 speakers. All right? Now, I'm going to explain to you why we do that later on. Now, after you fill in this part in here, you can also focus on the blue part or the gray part in here. This part in here is very, very informational because it gives you a range of the score. What is the maximum score you can put, or the minimum that you can put for each category of level of the speech that you see. Sorry, not the level, it's more or less the performance of the speaker. And they are being broken down by many, many different categories in here. And I will go through this with you in detail later on. Now, the last thing you do, once you score everyone, or maybe even you score the first one, you should probably start to mark all the number of the score you have at the bottom. And then, later on, what you need to do is you go into, take a piece of paper and start to cover up the one that you have marked. And you do it like this way, from the right to the left. Okay? The reason we do this is we're trying to be impartial of what each person is. You're not comparing each other, but you are actually doing the scoring of the individual's performance one by one. By going through this step in here, you will not see the one you had marked before you did it or the previous speaker. And you keep on marking it as per individual basis. That's the reason why we move it from right to left. All right? So once you finish all this step in here, you have to go back to here, which is number 5 step, is to mark down who has the top score and the second top score and the third top score. Right on the right hand or left hand side is the list of the winner. Okay? So that is how we fill the form. So at this point in time, I'm going to move forward to talk about the marking. Now, I expose only to the part which is related with the marking. And you know the different segments in here. And they have the top segment is called the content. The second segment is called delivery. And the last segment is called language. So they are broken up by 3 different segments. And if you notice that each segment have a different kind of weight. They put down content is 50% of the weight, delivery at 30%, and language is 20%. Now, if you look further down into this chart again, you see each segment is also broken up by smaller segments. And I would like to go through them one by one so you know what to look for. So Henry, let me go with you first. Can you explain to us why content segment is so much important in there that worth 50% of the weight?
Yes, Joe. According to the judging criteria, the speech development, the effectiveness, and the speech value is important. And it consists of 50% of the total mark. For speech development, it's the way the speaker puts ideas together so the audience can understand them. The speech is structured around a purpose. And this structure must include an opening, a body, and a conclusion. A good speech immediately engages the audience attention and then moves forward for a significant conclusion. This development of the speech structure is supported by relevant examples and illustrations, facts and figures, delivered with such smoothness that they blend into the framework of the speech to present the audience with a unified whole.
Okay, so that's very good. So we know speech development is the fundamental part of a speech. So at the same time, we also want to know the speech effectiveness and the speech value that also carry a lot of weight in there too. Can you tell us more?
Yes. For the other 2 parts, that is 15% of the total mark each, is effectiveness. If effectiveness is measured in part by the audience reception of the speech. But a large part is your subjective judgment of how speech came across. You should ask yourself such questions as, Was I able to determine the speaker's purpose? Did the speech is directly to that purpose? Was the audience interest held by the speaker? Was this speech subject appropriate for the particular audience?
Okay, so that is the value, right?
For speech
So
value,
this is the speech effectiveness you're talking about.
effectiveness. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but also the speech value is something that we should really look for as well when we are a judge. So we should be understanding that the speech is meaningful and original, and they also contribute to this audience some trigger their mind of thinking. So that's also very important as well too. So I think that's why it deserves another 15% of the mark. So now, Victor, maybe now you can tell us, when you deliver a speech, what you're looking for, what the judge should be looking for.
Thank you, Joe. The details on the judging items are very specific. For example, in the delivery component, you're looking at the physical, the voice, and the manner in which the speech is delivered. The physical part of the speech is really carries the responsibility for effective communication. That is, the speaker's appearance should reinforce the speech. Whether the speech is profound, whether it is sad, humorous, or instructional. The body language should support points through gestures, expressions, and body positioning. The speaker must make effective use of the area of the stage, moving from side to side or from back to front, or even standing still with important points being emphasized. It is the voice that carries the message, and not the voice from just simply your voice in your throat, but the voice coming from as far down as the stomach, because it should be flexible. It should move from one pitch to another for emphasis. Yes, no, that won't be correct. But you never, or it should have a variety of rate and volume. A good voice can be clearly heard and the words easily understood. Now, one of the things is if you are not a fluent English speaker, it doesn't matter, because an English speaker's mind translates what the sound that they hear from you and puts the correct pronunciation in place. The manner itself is an illustration really of the speaker's real self as the speech is delivered. Whether you are speaking with enthusiasm and assurance, whether you're strong and confident, whether you're showing interest in the audience and is confident in the reactions of the audience. So that is how we encapsulate those three elements to give you 30% of the mark.
Wow, Victor, you are a master of the delivery. As I hear you speak, you will actually articulate everything with your body language as well. I see your head move side to side. And your voice up and down, okay? You are actually demonstrating the way they're supposed to be spoken. Good job. I really appreciate that. Now, the last part of the chart shows 20% on language. And at one time, somebody asked me, they seem to be quite similar. Appropriateness and also correctness. So what's the difference? Well, I simply make it a very small distinctive difference in here. When you say appropriateness, you're simply talking about the choice of word. And are you using the word which promotes clearness in there? It's easy to understand, so that is the appropriateness of the language. Now, when you're talking about correctness, it's so simple. If you use correct grammar, that is correctness, right? So if you use good pronunciation, that's correctness. So that's how we differentiate what the language appropriateness is concerned compared to the correctness of the language. So that part counts on 20% because each one contributes 10% of the weight of the judge. Okay, now from this point on, I think I would like to move on to the next part, which is what the judge should know when they are marking the ballot. Something they call the judge's code of ethics. So Henry, can I come back to you and let us ask Henry to elaborate a little bit more about what the code of ethics means?
Yes, Joe. I think with the contest rules, the judge code of ethics mainly consists of 5. And I'll mention the first one. Judges will demonstrate the utmost objectivity. Judges will consciously avoid bias of any kind in selecting first, second, and third place contestants. Judges will not consider any contestant's club, area, division, district, or region affiliation. Judges will not consider any contestant's age, sex, race, creed, national origin, disability, profession, or political beliefs.
Okay, so in that case, there's a lot of elements that a judge should consider not to interfere with his mark, right? So also, I think that the timing is also very important too, because the fact is, we are told the judge should never really look at the time of the speaker. If it's under time or over time, it should not matter. The judge should only score the individual based on the speech, not have any concern on the time. So there's another part which is supposed to be very important to remember. Now, Victor, do you have anything you want to add on?
For sure, Joe. First of all, judges do not criticize the contest. They never reveal their identity. The only people who know the identity of the judges of a contest are the contest judge himself and the ballot counters, because they read the judge's submissions. But other than that, even after the contest, in my personal view, you should not say, I was a judge in that contest, because you're opening yourself up to a lot of questions from contestants or even from participants at the meeting as to this or that. Why did you judge it? How did you judge this? How did you judge that? And so I think it's very important for you to maintain that silence, that you were in fact a judge of that particular contest. A judge has to pay particular attention to the rules of the contest and the judging standards. And all you have to do is select the scores and write them down. You score each speech, you write the scores at the bottom, and you fill the form in correctly and submit it to the chief judge in time. Also, in order to avoid any bias, you cannot be a member of the same club. If you're a judge, you cannot be a member of the same club as the particular speaker, because of course that is a presumption of bias immediately. So whether you're judging at the division, the district, the region, the area, or any of those things, you cannot. It's only in the club contest that we utilize judges from the club itself, because they are very familiar with the speakers already and they understand them. Sometimes some clubs even ask other club members to be judges of their club contest. That is open to the club administration. And the most important thing is the rejection of any bias towards any contestant as a judge. Joe?
Thank you very much, Victor. It's very detailed description about what other elements that the judge should be concerned on. Thank you so much, Victor. And actually, thank you to Henry as well. Both of your comments will be very valuable to training new judges. And I know a lot of the time, many of those information will be also in the briefing of the judge by the chief judge at the time just before the contest starts. So with this, I hope we have enough information that we pass on to the new judges. And I hope you guys will be able to utilize what we have talked about tonight. And then you'll be very confident to do a good job to judge the contestant of a contest. So with this, I'd like to close this session, and good luck to you all.